The life cycle of a red deer. Our red deer's life will first start with a hide who has successfully mated and is now in the gestation period that will last up to 236 days, 8 months between mid-May to mid-July. The hide will give birth to them separately from its herd, instead looking for a private hiding place to give birth. This will be around mid-May to mid-July, with the calf weighing about 15 kilograms. They're born spotted as to help them better camouflage with their environment. This will disappear at the end of the summer. The calf will stay in its hiding place like bushes or undergrowth, and the hide will regularly return after grazing for the young to suckle 6 times a day for the first 2 weeks. Hides would use a series of different vocalizations to call to the calves. Moos will be used for searching and calling out calves, with them bleating in return. Hides can bark when alarmed, with the calves emitting a high-pitched squeal. After 2 weeks, the calf can join the herd, suckling 3 times a day. At 4 months will be weaned and no longer dependent on the milk, but can continue to suckle up to 9 to 10 months. This young calf will remain with its herd of females and other calves for 1 year for males, and about the same time that new offsprings are produced. They will become independent around 1 year old. Males will start to develop pedicles, which look like bumps on their head at 10 months old. The antlers will grow from these, not the skull. The pedicles develop when they're still a fetus. When it gets to 5 to 6 centimeters, a shiny skin develops and covers the top, becoming velvet, a soft and hairy skin. In the second year, they will be known as a brocket, referring to their antler development, growing sizable but single, unbranching antlers. From the pedicles, the young stag's first antlers will grow rapidly. 2 long single spikes 10 centimeters in length, covered by velvet, which is providing nutrients, blood, oxygen and protection to the new antlers that are growing, which is known as being in velvet. Then the spikes will fully calcify, becoming stronger and hardening as the rutting season approaches. Calcification shuts down the supply that the antlers are getting to grow around July to September. The velvet will dry out and shred around August, as it is no longer needed to give nutrients or protection, as most stags have completed their antler growth. It will be rubbed off on trees and branches until it is shredded and cleaned, revealing new antlers that are calcified dead bone. The way the velvet covers the growing bone will be the same each year. In the spring they will cast these single antlers. The third year's growing antlers will branch off into points, and each year new ones will become bigger, thicker and more branched until 8 years old, when they hit their prime. This is because pedicles increase in diameter as the stag becomes older. The common amount of points that come off a beam is 8 to 10, and 7 to 10-year-old stags can have over 20. The points are known as tines. 2 to 3-year-old males will leave their mother and herd to form male bachelor groups, cooperatively working together to find food, protection and watching out from predators. These younger stags are not likely to compete in the rut, but like older stags will focus on eating and getting fatter to survive the winter. Around 5 to 6-year-olds will lead the bachelor group to join the rut. Young females usually stay with their mother and her herd. These herds are mostly matriarchal and made up of one dominant hide, which can usually be seen when the herd moves, as it will be leading it. 2 years old, a male reaches sexual maturity but is unlikely to successfully mate. Only after they are 5 to 6 years old, with them hitting their prime at 8 years old, and only starts to develop a neck mane, brown winter coat at 2 years old. A stag is around 107 to 137 centimeters at the shoulder, weighing 90 to 190 kilograms. Female deers reach sexual maturity at 2 years old. Hides are around 107 to 122 centimeters at the shoulder and weigh 63 to 120 kilograms. Red deer's lifespan is around 16 to 18 years in the wild. In September to November, the breeding season known as the rut starts. Stags' antlers will stop growing and the velvet around their antlers will start to fall off because of a rise in testosterone production that is building up for the rut. This is also the time stags' physical condition will change to be better equipped for the rutting. Their neck and thigh muscles will become stronger and thicker and overall more developed, with a thicker insulated winter coat and neck mane growing in. Males that want to mate will need to form a harem, consisting of hides and any of their offspring. They will have to establish a rutting area for the harem, which is the group of hides. Stags will start to roar to attract hides, mainly in the early morning and evening, and spray a pungent odour when rutting along with wallowing in mud to accentuate their scent and make them appear darker. This will help them seem larger. They will rip up vegetation with their antlers with a lot of it getting caught in them. This is called adorning, and will help them seem larger than other stags, as well as leaving scent marks. To keep these harems, the stag will have to fight off any other competing stags. These rival males will come to challenge them by bellowing and walking parallel, allowing males to assess their opposition's body size, antlers, health and fighting prowess, up until one gets intimidated and leaves. But this is not always the case, as if males are equally matched, a fight will break out. The clashing of antlers and pushing is not meant to hurt the stags, but show who is stronger and the more dominant male. A lot of the time, the older stag will win, as they have more experience and know how to better use their environment around them. With them knowing to take the higher ground and use his weight and the gravity to his advantage, the stronger stag will throw or push their rival off balance and chase them away. At the same time, hides will be joining harems, which can vary in size from as little as 1 all the way up to 50. They will be attracted by stags roaring, as it is a good indication of a stag's fitness, as it is very energy consuming. This is linked to early ovulation. A hide's heat, which is known as estrus, are 6 hours each cycle over the period of the rut, with October being the peak of the rutting and hide's estrus. Estrus is triggered by the increase of melatonin that happens because of the pituitary gland's reaction to shorter days. Stags will regularly sniff any urine from the hide and their tail end, curling back their lips so it can activate the vomeromuscle organ that is in the roof of their mouth that detects when the hide is coming into estrus, a priming pheromone that triggers the hormone system for mating in stags. The harem stag will follow the hides closely, but the hides will avoid his advances until they come into estrus. When this happens, she will put her head down with her neck extended and trot around while open-mouthed chewing. The stag will give chase, and when the hide is ready to mate, will stop and arch her back a bit with tail raised and ears back. Stag will mount the hide and mate. If not mated, the hide will carry on ovulating every 18 days until successful. In the woodlands, the rut is less active than in the open grounds and hills, along with them being largely solitary and smaller herds, unlike the larger number of deers in open grounds. Male and females will separate after the rut, with the stags leaving and rejoining bachelor groups, and female herds staying in the area they were born in. The rut will take a heavy toll on rutting stags, with them losing 20% of their body weight, as will rarely feed in this time as they are using their fat reserves. After the rut, stags' testosterone levels will drop, activating cells called osteoclasts that are specialised to break down and absorb calcium from the pedicles that is at the base of the antlers, leading them to become weak, and in March to April will fall off. Males under 4 years old are more likely to cast late in April and early May, as old and better conditioned stags cast their antlers first. Winter coats also will start to shed. Replacement antlers will grow immediately and only take 128 days, with them growing 2.5 centimetres a day. They will use this time to eat and replenish fat reserves, ready for the stag's next rutting season. Hides that are now pregnant will focus on eating so they will be able to provide milk for the calf when born. Later on in the gestation period, they will become more rounded and spend more of their time resting. Once the time to give birth is near, they will find a safe place away from the herd, and the cycle of a new red deer will begin again.